Why do you think Russia wanted Pavlo?
For me, it's also a mystery. Thoroughly analyzing over the past 3 days all the circumstances that could have motivated the Russian security services to surveil him, I can only make one conclusion. It is not connected to any of my actions. It can only be related to Pavlo's posts on social media. What makes me think that? Because he has never been a member of the armed forces of Ukraine, any other military groups or public organizations, even book clubs. Starting in 2014, he actively posted on the Russian social network Vkontakte. I think that at that time or later on, the Russian security services came across his account because they found his comments or posts interesting and started surveilling him.
Did you question whether you should have let Pavlo go to Belarus?
Of course I did, of course. My wife and I had an argument with him prior to his departure, but our son didn't listen. He said, "I'm 19 years old, I'm an adult, and I have all the rights to go and there isn't a way you can stop me." It's true, we can't constrain him, and he didn't listen to any of our arguments.
At the moment, Pavlo's whereabouts are unknown. The Ukrainian consul in Belarus says that Pavlo is not in Belarus. How are you planning to search for him?
We keep on searching according to the information we gathered about his trip and where hypothetically he could be at this moment. And we base our search on the fact that it was the FSB, the Federal Security Service, in the city of Sochi in Russia's Krasnodar Krai region who initiated the charge. Given that the pre-trial jail that serves the FSB in Krasnodar Krai only exists in Krasnodar city itself, on 22 Krasnoarmeyskaya Street, Investigative Detention Center No.5, we have an inkling that that's where he is.
Did you try contacting Russian human rights activists, lawyers, people who monitor prisons and pre-trial detention centers?
I'm getting a lot of help from lawyers like Yevgenia Zakrevska and public human rights organizations. They are in touch with their Russian colleagues who have now joined them in handling this case. From my side, I sent a letter to the head of a human rights organization in Moscow, Svetlana Ganushkina, and asked her to join this process. She replied saying that she will make a plea regarding Pavlo to the head of the Human Rights Committee under the President of Russia.
You have seen the Skype correspondence between Pavlo and this girl, who he went to Belarus to meet. What surprised you the most in those conversations?
The only thing that was not related to a romantic conversation between two young people was the slogan "Glory to Ukraine" and its response, "Glory to the heroes." It was the way they greeted each other. That's the first point. Secondly, this girl wrote in very grammatically correct Ukrainian. There were no mistakes, and that's what caught my eye. Because even young people who live in Ukraine and study the Ukrainian language in school can make an occasional mistake. It really did catch my eye.
You said in a press conference that Pavlo has a medical diagnosis that poses certain threats to his health in detention. Could you please tell me about it, whatever you can disclose?
This is not a secret anymore. We've released the information already. Unfortunately, Pavlo has been disabled since childhood because of the Chernobyl catastrophe. It's a congenital defect inside his body that affects his organs. The diagnosis is called portal hypertension, and it has other complications. Pavlo requires regular medication, a certain daily regimen, and a special diet. Even if supposedly no one physically hurts him there, just his presence under the conditions that they have in detention, with no medications, a different diet from what he needs in order for his organs to properly function, and just the atmosphere there in general, you know what I mean, can lead to fatal consequences.
During the press conference, you also said that you suspect that Pavlo could have wound up in the anti-terrorist monitoring system designed in Russia in preparation for the Sochi Olympics. What made you think that?
I found out from the media that while preparing for the Sochi Olympics, the Russian security services in Krasnodar Krai installed special technical equipment to enforce the anti-terrorist program. This brand new equipment monitored social media, telephone conversations, and so on. And that was the year 2014 when the Euromaidan protests and the whole situation in Crimea and eastern Ukraine erupted. So he might have written something or reposted something somewhere, and the system caught that.
Are you considering going to Krasnodar Krai yourself?
From unofficial sources, I know that it is not recommended that I go to Krasnodar.